Hello from Kingfisher, Oklahoma. Today we're going to look at 4 things from Numbers 21 and 22. Well, God, when Israel is obedient and is seeking to follow him, always comes through. No matter what the odds are, he always comes through. And the same can be true in your life. When you follow God, he's promised to be with you, never forsake you, and miraculous things can happen. So we're going to see this at the very first part of the chapter, and kind of sprinkled in happens with the Canaanites and the Ammonites and the Moabites. It doesn't matter who they're facing, that the children of Israel will be victorious when they follow God. Now, as we've seen so far, they're not very good at sticking with that. A lot of times they do their own thing. They complain, whine, and fuss. Now, the Ammonites and the Moabites, who we're going to have mentioned today, I just wanted to remind you, those are Lot's descendants. Lot and his daughters, back in Genesis 19, that's their children. So that's the descendants there. The Amorites were the ones that God promised that they would get judgment, but their iniquity wasn't yet complete. Back in Abraham's day, when he saw the promised land, he said, I'm going to give them chances. Well, 430 years plus a few later, here we are finally getting that judgment. So God is on his own time schedule. He has the right to be. He is God of the universe. And he gives them grace, and aren't we glad he can give us the same grace before we receive judgment for our sins? I do enjoy grace. That's what Jesus is all about, and boy, do I need it. Number 2, Edom did not let Israel go through their land. We're going to see that several times through these scriptures, that people just don't want to cooperate with Israel. And Edom is Esau's descendants. They didn't let them go through their land, so we see Israel going around. And this caused the people, shocker, to complain. Things just went well, they had this victory, and now they're back to complaining. So what happens? God judges them. He sends fiery serpents into their midst, and if they get bit by the fiery serpents, they die immediately. Pretty crazy. So it's kind of motivation not to complain. But God doesn't leave them there. Number 3, He provides a foreshadowing of Jesus. Now, this is very famous. Moses sets up this pole, and the people can look up at the pole. And when they do that, after they've been bitten, they don't die from the snake bite. Okay? But I think an interesting thing here is in the King James, it translates it fiery serpent on the pole. The Hebrew word in verse 8 is actually seraph. And the only other time that seraph is used is, you've got this story that it's used, but then later in Isaiah, he has a vision involving seraph, the fiery angel of God. So the seraphim is plural for that. We know that term. If you've grown up in church, seraphim and cherubim are angels of God. So it seems like in the Hebrew that up there on this pole, this bronze staff that Moses raises up, is a fiery angelic being and not really the serpent that we think of. Put it in the comments. Let me know what you think. No, and so God doesn't leave them out to dry there. And you can see this seraph is in Isaiah a couple of times. Well, they continue to go on, and they run into some more ups and downs. But then this prophet Balaam, number 4, comes into the picture. And he is hired by a local king to curse Israel so that they don't have success. And the king Balak says, hey Balaam, I know when you curse somebody, they're cursed. If you bless them, they're blessed. I want you to curse these guys so that they have trouble, they don't succeed in taking over all the places they're trying to succeed. And so Balaam says, well, I can't do anything different than God would have me do. What he says, I'm going to say. Balak says, come anyway. Let's check. And so through this series of circumstances that are pretty unique, that even involve Balaam arguing with his own donkey. The donkey is arguing back, by the way. Pretty unique. But the donkey saves him from being killed by an angel. So interesting story there. But he ends up blessing them a total of 3 times. And we're going to see a couple of those today in our story. Let's jump into it. Chapter 21. When King Arad the Canaanite, which dwelt in the south, heard that Israel came by the way of spies, he fought against Israel and took some of them prisoners. And Israel vowed a vow unto the Lord and said, if thou wilt indeed deliver this people into my hand, I will utterly destroy their cities. And the Lord hearkened unto the voice of Israel, and he delivered up the Canaanites, and they utterly destroyed them and their cities. And he called the name of the place Hormah, which means utter destruction. So things are going pretty well. Number 4, and they journeyed from Mount Hor by way of the Red Sea to compass or go around the land of Edom. And the soul of the people was much discouraged because of the way. And the people spake against God. Oh, there's the Israelites we know. And against Moses. Oh yeah, we remember these guys. Wherefore have you brought us up out of Egypt to die in the wilderness? For there is no bread, neither there is any water, and our soul loatheth this light bread. The manna you're providing miraculously every day, God, we're tired of eating it. We want real food. Ugh. And the Lord sent fiery serpents among the people, and they bit the people, and much of the people of Israel died. Therefore the people came to Moses and said, we have sinned. You think? For we have spoken against the Lord and against thee. Pray unto the Lord that he take away the serpents from us. Which God doesn't do. He does something else. Interesting, huh? And Moses prayed for the people. And the Lord said unto Moses, make thee a fiery, Hebrew word right here, seraph, and set it on the pole. And it shall come to pass that everyone that is bitten, when he looketh upon it, shall live. And Moses made a serpent of brass, again, and put it on the pole. And it came to pass that if a serpent had bitten a man, and he beheld the serpent of brass, he lived. So, we're seeing serpent, but serpent for the animal that's biting, seraph for the thing going on the pole. Could have used the same word, didn't use the same word, seraph. New Testament, Jesus is quoting, just as Moses raised the staff in the wilderness, so the Son of Man will be lifted up. That's my paraphrase, but he's talking about this story right here. So Jesus says, I'm going to be raised up for people so that they may not die, but they may live. Ooh, so this is foreshadowing right here. Whoa, God is so cool. He just keeps using things that he put this into place, knowing that Jesus was going to use it later. And the children of Israel set forward and pitched in Oboth, and they journeyed from Oboth, which is pitched at Ije Abarim, in the wilderness, which is before Moab, before the sun rising. From thence they removed and pitched in the valley of Zered. And from thence they removed and pitched to the other side of Arnon, which is in the wilderness that cometh out of the coast of the Amorites. For Arnon is the border of Moab, between Moab and the Amorites. Wherefore it is said in the book of the wars of the Lord, what he did in the Red Sea, and in the brooks of Arnon, and at the stream of the brooks, and goeth down to the dwelling of Ar, and lieth in the border of Moab. And from thence they went to Beer, which is the well whereof the Lord spake unto Moses, gather the people together, and I will give them water. Then Israel sang this song, Spring up, O well, sing ye into it. The princes digged the well. The nobles of the people digged it, by the direction of the lawgiver with their staves. And from the wilderness they went to Mattanah, and from Mattanah to Nahaliel, from Nahaliel to Bamoth, and from Bamoth in the valley, and that is in the country of Moab, to the top of Pisgah, which looketh toward Jeshimon. And the Lord sent messengers No, and Israel sent messengers into Sihon, king of the Amorites, saying, "Let me pass through thy land, and we will not turn into the fields or into the vineyards. We will not drink of the waters of the well, but we will go along by the king's highway until we be past thy borders." And Sihon would not suffer Israel to pass through his border, but Sihon gathered all his people together and went out against Israel in the wilderness. And he came to Jahaz and fought against Israel. And Israel smote him with the edge of the sword, and possessed his land from Arnon to the Jabbok, even to the children of Ammon, for the border of the children of Ammon was strong. And Israel took all these cities, and Israel dwelt in all the cities of the Amorites in Heshbon, and in all the villages thereof. For Heshbon was the city of Sihon, king of the Amorites, who had fought against the former king of Moab, and taken all his land out of his hand, even unto the Arnon. So it doesn't matter how strong a king is. When God is fighting for you, you win. And remember, 430 years previous, God said, this is going to happen. You're going to go in, you're going to take these guys out because their sin is great. Come into Heshbon. Let the city of Sihon be built and prepared, for there is a fire gone out of Heshbon, a flame in the city of Sihon. It has consumed Ar of Moab, and the lords of the high places of Arnon. Woe to thee, Moab! Thou art undone, O people of Chemosh. He hath given his sons that escaped and his daughters into captivity unto Sihon, king of the Amorites. We have shot at them. Heshbon is perished even to Dibon, and we have laid them to waste unto Nopah, which reacheth unto Medeba. Thus Israel in the land of the Amorites dwelt. And Moses sent to spy out Jazer, and they took the villages thereof, and drove out the Amorites that were there. And they turned up and went by way of Bashan. And Og the king of Bashan went out to meet them, and all his people, to the battle of Edrei. And the Lord said to Moses, Fear him not, for I have delivered him into thy hand, and all his people, and all his land. And thou shalt do to him what thou didst to Sihon, king of the Amorites, which dwelt at Heshbon. So they smote him and his sons, and all his people, until there was none left him alive, and they possessed his land. So the plan works when they're obedient. Chapter 22. And the children of Israel went forward and pitched in the plains of Moab on the side of the Jordan by Jericho. And Balak the son of Zippor saw all that Israel had done to the Amorites. And Moab was sore afraid of the people, because they were many. And Moab was distressed because of the children of Israel. And Moab said to the elders of Midian, Now shall this company lick up all that are round about us, as an ox licketh up the grass of the field. And Balak the son of Zippor was king of the Moabites at the time. He sent messengers unto Balaam the son of Beor to Pethor, which is by the river of the land of the children of his people, to call him, saying, Behold, there is a people come out of Egypt. Behold, they cover the face of the earth, and they abide over against me. Come now, therefore, I pray thee, curse me this people, for they are too mighty for me. Peradventure I will prevail, that we may smite them, and that I may drive them out of the land. For I wot that he whom thou blessed is blessed, and he whom thou cursest is cursed. So, I'll bless him. Or don't bless him, curse him, and it'll work. And the elders of Moab and the elders of Midian departed with rewards of divination in their hand. And they came unto Balaam, and spake unto him the words of Balak. And he said unto him, Lodge here this night, and I will bring you word as the Lord shall speak unto me. And the princes of Moab abode with Balaam. And God came unto Balaam and said, What men are these with thee? And Balaam said unto God, Balak, son of Zippor, king of Moab, hath sent unto me, saying, Behold, there is a people come out of Egypt, who covereth the face of the earth. Come now, curse them. Peradventure I shall be able to overcome them and drive them out. And God said to Balaam, Thou shalt not go with them. Thou shalt not curse the people, for they are blessed. Hey, this is one reason we know God works outside of the nation of Israel, by the way. He's talking to this prophet here. So it is just Israel is who God decided to make his story known through. It isn't as though he was only working with Israel. Balaam rose in the morning and said to the princes of Balak, Get you to your land, for the Lord refuseth to give me leave to go with you. And the princes of Moab rose up, and they went to Balak, and said, Balaam refuseth to come with us. And Balak sent yet again princes, and more honorable than they. And they came to Balaam and said, Thus says Balak, the son of Zippor, Let nothing, I pray thee, hinder thee from coming to me. For I will promote thee to a great honor. I will do whatever thou sayest unto me. Come, therefore, I pray, curse me this people. And Balaam answered and said unto the servants of Balak, if Balak would give me his house full of silver and gold, I cannot go beyond the word of the Lord my God to do less or more. That's a pretty good stand for somebody outside of the nation of Israel. Now, therefore, I pray you, tarry also with me this night, that I may know what the Lord will say to me. And God said unto Balaam at night, he said unto him, if the men come to call thee, rise up and go with them. But yet the word which I shall say to thee, thou shalt do. And Balaam rose up in the morning and saddled his ass and went with the princes of Moab. And God's anger was kindled because he went. And the angel of the Lord stood against him in the way, as for an adversary. So he didn't follow God's instructions quite, I would say. He was supposed to kind of hang back, but he just went. And let's see. And his ass saw the angel of the Lord standing in the way, and his sword was drawn in his hand. And the ass turned aside out of the way and went into the field. And Balaam smote the ass to turn her away into the way. But the angel of the Lord stood in the pass of the vineyards, a wall being on this side and a wall being on that side. And when the ass saw the angel of the Lord, she thrust herself into the wall and crushed Balaam's foot against the wall. And he smote her again. And the angel of the Lord went further and stood in the narrow place where there was no way to turn, either to the right hand or to the left. And when the ass saw the angel of the Lord, she fell down under Balaam. And Balaam's anger was kindled, and he smote the ass with his staff. So he's so angry that this donkey's not doing what he wants, that he's just beating with his staff. And the Lord opened the mouth of the ass, and she said unto Balaam, what have I done to thee, that thou hast struck me these 3 times? And Balaam said unto the ass, because thou hast mocked me. If there were a sword in my hand, I would kill thee. And the ass said unto Balaam, am I not thine ass, which thou hast ridden ever since I was thine until this day? Was I ever wont to do so unto thee? And he said, nay. And the Lord opened the eyes of Balaam, and he saw the angel of the Lord standing in the way with his sword drawn in his hand. And he bowed down his head and fell flat on his face. And the angel of the Lord said unto him, wherefore hast thou smitten thine ass these 3 times? Behold, I went out to withstand thee, and because thy way is perverse before me. And the ass saw me. So he's not clean as the wind-driven snow, and he hasn't exactly followed God, even though he has a little bit. And the ass saw me and turned away these 3 times. Unless she had turned from me, surely now also I had slain thee, and saved her alive. And Balaam said unto the angel of the Lord, I have sinned, for I knew not thou stoodest in the way against me. Now therefore, if it displease thee, I will get me back again. And the angel of the Lord said unto Balaam, go with the men, but only the word that I speak unto thee shalt thou speak. So Balaam went with the princes of Balak. And when Balak heard that Balaam was come, he went out to meet him in the city of Moab, which is the border of Arnon, which is the most in the utmost coast. And Balak said to Balaam, did I not earnestly send and call thee? Wherefore thou camest not unto me? Am I not able indeed to promote thee to honor? And Balaam said unto Balak, lo, I come unto thee. Now any power at all I have to say nothing. The word that God putteth in my mouth, that shall I speak. And Balaam went to Balak, and they came to Kirjath Huzoth. And Balak offered oxen and sheep, and went with Balaam and the princes that were with him. And it came to pass on the morrow that Balak took Balaam, and brought him to the high places of Baal, that thence he might see the uttermost part of the people. So that's the foreign god. Well, you see that God is taking the Israelites and working with them when they work with him, but then punishing them still when they are a rebellious people. And the same is with Balak, as when he Balaam, when he follows God, it's fine. But when he kind of goes his own path, it's not fine. And the same is true with us. We need to follow Christ. We need to follow God, his law. We need to know it. We need to do it. And otherwise things just won't go well with us. Well, we're going to continue this story of Balaam and Israel. So join us next time. We'll catch you later.